I, I, I did not know where that was going.
How about that? Home run.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, I needed that belly laugh. My word.
Mr. Dennis, how are you doing on this lovely
Oh,
happy hour
well, I'm
evening?
I needed my respite here. I appreciate your companionship. I had, as they say, a hard day at work.
Hard day at work.
Yeah,
Oh my.
hard day. So I'll generalize the story and not name names because I don't want to piss off the foundation that I'm talking about here, the philanthropy.
I mean, don't talk about Tommy and Susan for sure. That they would get upset.
The Tommy and Susan Foundation.
Yeah.
Well, so this unnamed foundation had a deadline today at 3:00. And at one point, when I tried to get on it, there were so many applications, I'm sure, going in at once that it wouldn't open.
Huh.
So I wanted to start entering the data, and I couldn't. And then I had other responsibilities and went to do those. And then by the time I came back, it was late, and I did get on, but I was so late, and I only had 14 minutes to enter 20 minutes worth of data. Contact information. It was just an intent to apply. And just when I went to press send.
It's an intent to apply, not an application.
Yes.
It's like, I would like to later then ask
if
if I could possibly later then apply.
Here's my tax info, blah, blah, blah. Check me out. And I literally was furiously typing, was done at 3:00, went to the button to go to send, went to the screen to go to send, and the clock had turned to 3. And just as I did, it showed me that the email verification, the second email address, every time they ask you for fucking email, you got to give it to them again to make sure that you did it right the first time. Well, there's like 7 emails in this data entry that I got to do. I did one of them wrong, and instead of a J, I had a Y.
Oh, no.
So I looked at it. I saw it immediately. I changed it. And just when I went to go to the other screen, the screen flashed, you've timed out. Application process closed. And I printed the materials because I saved it, of course. And it said last saved 3:01. 3:01.
Oh, God.
3:01. 40 grand.
Procrastination.
But no, listen. But the website was down for a while. I wrote the dude. I called him. Like at 2:00. So listen, man, I'm trying to get in your application portal and it's not working. I don't know what to do. I hope if this crashes that there's something you can do about this. And I hung up because I was hedging my bets. Right. Then I wrote him an email and said, as it turns out, because it was down for so long, I was rushed and it did time out exactly as I did it. Is there anything you can do? And I go to the website and it says, like in bold cap in a box in the top right corner of the screen, please be clear that a late application, an extension of an application deadline will not occur for any reason whatsoever. Make plans to apply in a timely manner. Choose a second person to apply with you. Click
even if our website is down.
Well, and it didn't say in case we crash, but it might as well have.
Look, as someone who makes websites, we never put in a thing of in case our website is down, because we assume that we are infallible, engineers.
So I don't believe I have a chance in hell.
Recourse.
That's exactly the word I used. What is the recourse? Do you agree that I have no chance whatsoever?
It depends on how human the humans behind the
or how long
are.
It crashed and how many people complained.
That too. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, computers do what humans tell them to do,
Yeah.
and
Oh, and I
they
and
and
I
the
knew I
program
was
said
racing for
at 3
time.
o'clock, shut this down and don't allow any more submissions, and it did that. So it's complicated.
Yep. Anyway, so that was the end of my day. But I thought, this is the deal. This is the deal. I said to self. Self, I said, listen, this is on you. You can't say that the first partner you tried to get missed their deadline to tell you yes or no by 7 days.
Right.
That's on you, because what you should have done when they missed the deadline by 2 days was to just decided that no answer is a no. Instead, you lollygagged and acted like you had to talk to them. It's stupid. Just
Yeah.
make the decision. If I'd done that, we wouldn't be here. I can tell you 5 or 6 different things of, I had an appointment with this Plan B. That appointment's canceled. Instead of 3:30, it's moved to 5, and then at 5 o'clock, it's canceled, and it can't have the meeting till the next day, which is the due day, and she has 10 minutes as opposed to well, that's on me. I should have got to her sooner. I should have. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going through a frustrating human computer issue myself that I'm going to tell you about now.
I hope it's more interesting than my story.
Just barely, but also
Just barely.
I may have raised my voice earlier this evening. So the way that Apple identifies humans is through what's now called an Apple ID. And that is an email address. Nowadays, it can be any email address, but before it had to be one that was controlled by Apple. It was either mac.com, or then it was me.com, and now it's iCloud.com. And so back 20 years ago now, when I bought the first iPod, which was a big fucking brick that was an actual spinning hard disk that would play MP3 file music, I was using an Apple ID that I started using back then. It's actually my name because I was an early adopter, and I've been using that to purchase songs and TV shows and now apps and shit from
For 20
Apple
years.
for 20 years. But at some point they introduced iCloud, which is like your identity on your devices, your user ID that syncs across your different devices. And for some reason, I think it didn't let me, or for some reason I thought it was a good idea to have a different one. And so now whenever I set up a new iPhone, for example, I sign in with my newer identification that syncs all of my shit. But then when I go to the App Store, I have to say, no, this is my account that I've been buying stuff on for 20 years. Yeah. And I recently came upon a new Apple device, an iPad, and I tried to sign in. So I signed in with my thing that gives me all of my content, but then to get the apps that I've already purchased, I tried to sign in with my other one. Anyway, that other one that's just for the App Store, I am not logged into any device to receive email from that account. And so when I tried to log in, it said, okay, fine, we've sent an email to this address, and you just type in the code that we sent you. And I'm like, well, I'm not logged into that email address anywhere. let me try and log into that email address. Let me try and log in on some other device. And it did the same thing. It said, well, you think this is you? We've sent an email. And so I went through the process of trying to recover that. And they force you to download a fucking app. And I went through that like a week ago. And it said, we will contact you within 24 hours to resolve this issue.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fine. And then like stuff happened. Like we went on vacation with the family. And anyway, today I went to go and try that again and it didn't work. And I decided, look, I'm going to call Apple and talk to a human and have them walk me through this. And I did. First of all, I had to wait until America woke up because I didn't feel like doing it in Spanish. And they said, okay, we'll go through these steps. And I did the exact same thing I already did. And it came up with a thing that said, okay, 24 hours, you will receive a response. And I said, okay, I've done this already. And they said, okay, so now you have to wait 24 hours. And I said,
I did already.
I did this already. If I, like, imagine I'm calling tomorrow and I'm telling you that I did this already and I waited 24 hours and I got nothing. What would we do then?
Good.
And he could not get his head around. He would say, well, we would wait for 24 hours until you receive the response. And I said, no, I've done this already. Try and put yourself in the shoes of, like, I'm calling you tomorrow. What would we do? And he would say, like, well, I mean, we would wait 24 hours until it was like, for fuck's sake, man. Like,
was he dense?
I mean,
articulate, yes.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and out him. His name is Josh. So, well, fuck you, Josh.
Not much.
Why?
Because he didn't resolve? Did he get testy? Or did he just remain addled?
He just remained unhelpful.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, what is your name? And he said, Josh. And I said, do you have any other names? And he said, I'm not at liberty to discuss that because of privacy, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, you were getting irritated then. Your voice changed.
Yes, I was. I mean, at this point, like I had made it to the end of what he was capable of telling me. And I was just like, okay.
And it frustrated you. So you showed your, and because you knew more than he did, you intimidated him. And that's why he became recalcitrant.
Well, and this was the second dude. Like I had already been escalated past the first,
first dude.
The first dude. So his only redeeming, possibly correct answer was, if you were already in the recovery system, it would not have let you enter the recovery system again. So, and he also seemed to say that even though it says check back in 24 hours, if you check back again in 2 hours, it should say check back again within 22 hours. Like it should go down.
It's always 24 hours. It's like in those
That's what I think.
movies.
I think I'm going to call back tomorrow, but at least I have he gave me a case number that I can recite.
How many
and
digits?
Come back to them and say, my case number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
How many digits in the case number?
It's a fucking great question.
17.
12.
Well, get the fucking line, 12 digits. Can you imagine?
It starts with a 1, though. So,
Yeah, sure. They all start with a 1. So people like you will say that. Oh, it's a 1. I'm up first. Well, no.
Yeah. So
mercy.
It's just, I mean, it's a joke in my industry to, if someone calls and says, I can't get into my email, you say, well, email us at this address to, and we can fix your email. That, I don't know. Well, I hope it gets resolved. I moaned a little bit about it online.
Right. Well,
and we'll see.
These IT issues are maddening. I mean, there's another IT related issue that's got my hair on fire, where typical the state government here in Michigan some years ago, under, by the way, the governor who started a hardware company, Rick Snyder. What the hell was his? What was his stuff?
He was the governor, wasn't he?
Yeah, but what was his hardware company? Made computers. Anyway, he was called Mr. Metrics and
Snyder Computers,
because he was like all IT and whatnot. But so what they, every department has their own data system, and every department has their own money for data systems.
He's the co-founder of Ardesta.
Yeah.
Venture capital firm and Health Media.
Well, the Ardesta. I don't remember that. But anyway, so they centralize all IT, and they say departments' data systems are now controlled by us, and everybody has to get in line, and we're going to decide of this $1 billion that was scattered all over hell and back, we're going to spend that in a way that you won't like, unless, of course, we choose your project first. And oh, by the way, unless you're economic development, we're not going to choose you first. If you're anything else, we don't give a fuck about you. If you're social services, you're in the back of the bus. If you're social services for convicts, you're not even on the bus. They won't even let you in the station to wait. You have to wait up the corner.
You're hanging on the bumper.
It's just ridiculous. And then when they do it, they don't understand. They don't know the business model. They don't understand what we do. How could they possibly know what we do? Fuck. It's maddening.
Yeah.
System crash. They're on their third iteration since I left 12 years ago. They can't produce any data. It's not that they don't collect it. They collect it somewhere, but they don't. They lost all their programming to access it. So they say, well, we don't collect that anymore. I say, no, you collect it. You just don't do anything with it. You don't find it. You don't analyze it. You don't report on it. You just let it be buried in a godzillion number of freaking data bytes. And you don't want to apply 5 programmers to figure out how to get at this shit and produce a goddamn report. But don't tell me you don't collect it. If you don't collect it, that means that you don't know who's in prison and when they're getting out. You're not telling me that, are you? You're not telling me that you don't know who's in prison and when they're getting out. Are you saying that? Oh, no, we're not saying that. Then let's figure out how I can get the fucking data. Don't tell me you don't collect. That's bullshit. I've crossed over into a whole nother realm here, but as you can tell, I'm irritated.
The more I understand about the world, and believe you me, I try not to, but it's so, like, the people that make decisions are often the least informed. And
they're the furthest from the problem.
Right. But like, they're the ones that have the political charisma, I guess, to be voted into power. But something about the way the human mind works is, once I have the power, I assume that I also know all the things. And it's very, very rare that you get someone that assumes power and then defers to experts.
It's just a simple, and it's just a simple thing, though. The simple thing is to say to people who are the end users, whatever, to people in the trenches, to people with the shovels, the people with the brooms.
Yeah.
And to say to them, this is my idea. What do you think? I'm not going to talk to 10,000 of you. I'm going to bring 3 of you in. And I'm going to think that, you just represent the views. And if you're all in agreement, then that tells me something. If you're interested. But just simple feedback. clue. What do you think?
Nobody does that because once you get to that level of power, you assume. I mean, we all like as humans with egos assume that I'm the one in charge. Why would I be in charge if I didn't know better than all of the other knuckleheads? And therefore, I'm gonna rule. I'm gonna make my own decision. I don't know. It's just the
they
way,
don't understand
the way we are.
that if you want power, you've got to give it away. That if you want forward motion, you've got to let others take the lead. They don't understand that if you want somebody to own something, you've got to get them to help you build it.
Yes.
You can't expect people to give a shit about something that they're not putting their hands on.
You, sir, are talking about leadership.
Engagement. Leadership with a capital L, with engagement with a capital E. Hey. So,
Hey.
I saw the new Batman.
Did you?
Oh, my
Was there a
God.
bat?
The Batman is the name of it.
Yeah, the Batman?
Oof. With the Batman. Yeah. Pattinson. From...
Pattinson.
Pattinson, yes. What's his first name?
Robert
Pattinson. And endnote, that follows me seeing him in a black and white movie called The Lighthouse.
Okay.
Where your homework, Batman, if you want, it's kind of fun. I think it's the best Batman I've seen. But do
they retell the whole origin story about his parents getting killed?
It is rethought completely.
But they retell it.
They retell it, but they don't tell it in the same kind of storybook way. It is an unusually written and directed, and the villains are all extraordinary, but very different, except for one, very different from anything that you've ever seen before. Way they look, the way they act, what they do. Of course, the Riddler's the Riddler. I mean, there's no getting away that he comes with riddles. But Penguin, who's played by an unrecognizable Colin Farrell, unrecognizable for the entire 3 hours plus. Every time he was on screen, I could not find his face anywhere in what I was looking at the screen. He plays this huge fat penguin that they constantly refer to in the movie as Oz.
Why?
Which must be his first name. I don't know, but he's the Penguin, but he's got a name too.
Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot.
That's his name?
Yep.
What is it?
Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot.
Cobblepot. Wow.
Cobblepot. Like
Cobble.
Cobble streets. Cobblepot.
Cobble. Like what a turkey says?
It's until he gets to the pot, yes. So
what did the turkey say when he crossed the road?
He said Cobble street.
No, it's cobble.
Cobblestone.
So your homework is The Lighthouse. And we'll end up devoting an entire episode about it.
I feel like you might have mentioned
if you are like me, you are going to be floored by this freaking movie.
Well, that's a good...
I'm gonna watch it again before we are on air again, simply because, of course, I had terrible nightmares.
It's a 2019 movie, The Lighthouse.
Pretty fresh.
Stars William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
Willem Dafoe,
who descend into madness.
I've never seen him in anything, and I've seen him in everything, and I love him in everything. This is
sounds
Willem
a lot like
Dafoe
our podcast.
unleashed.
There's a young guy
What's
and an
that?
old guy, and they descend into madness when the storm strands them on a remote island. It's basically us.
Well, there's some parts that when I think about them, they're hilarious, and the hilarity lasts for a split second because at the end of the day, this is a very upsetting, unsettling, sad, freaking
Okay, don't tell me anymore.
Taggart fucking masterpiece.
But I have a lot of catching up to do because my screen time has been restricted since having visitors.
You've had some fun, huh? What did you do?
Well, my parents were here. I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning to take them to the airport, and they have since arrived back in.
So how long were they there? A week?
In America land for about 2 weeks. Just
that seems. Yeah, I don't imagine a week would be worth it at all.
Yeah, well, the Spaniards when they say, "How long are you here for?" and my parents say, 2 weeks. The Spaniards all say, 2 weeks? Why would you travel all this far just to stay for 2 weeks? Why not a month? Why not 2 months?
Yeah,
which is a totally different. Like the culture is totally different. But yeah, so we all took some vacation time last week to travel to a city in central Spain called Valladolid, where it's one of the 20 places in Spain that is known for their Easter processions. And Easter procession in Spain is where there's this parade through the streets where people, I think it's almost always men, are carrying these big, they're like parade floats, but there's like 20 dudes, like 10 on each side, that are carrying this thing on their shoulders.
Yeah, I've seen images. And
there's this big platform with either the crying Virgin Mary or the
weeping
crucified. Yeah, weeping. Sorry, I apologize for using the wrong verb.
Faux pas.
Or the crucified Jesus, which is,
sad situation.
Yeah, and it's all very like it's all based around mourning. Like there's no Easter bunny here. There's nothing about Easter is happy here.
Well,
there's no focus on the resurrection and happiness stuff. All the celebration is about mourning the death, which get.
Don't they do that on Good Friday?
No, I mean it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So in
they
Spain,
mourn the death for 3 days, and the mourning culminates on Easter Sunday.
Well, no. So according to your Catholic upbringing, when did Jesus die?
Good Friday.
Right, and he was dead for how many days?
Huh?
He was dead for how many days?
3 days. Rose again on Sunday.
Okay. How many days between Friday and Sunday?
2.
Okay. Is there a conflict in your mind now, or?
Why?
He was dead for how many days?
He was dead for 3 days. All day Friday, all day Saturday. Well, not all day Sunday, something less than 3 days. Because I don't know what time. Good Friday, I think actually the Catholics celebrated.
With time zones, he might have been jet lagged.
At 3 o'clock. At a 3 p.m. every Easter Friday. So if he rose again on Sunday at 3 p.m., let's say, then he was dead for 2 full days. But the biblical references are 3 days.
Right. Okay. So, yes, what's weird is in Spain, if you ask someone when Jesus died, they will tell you on Thursday because it's 3 days before Sunday. Duh.
What's the excuse for Good Friday then?
I mean,
to celebrate what happened the day before, or to consider what happened the day before.
No. In Spain, it's the whole previous week is celebrated as.
So there's no such thing as Good Friday.
They literally call it the Holy Week.
Well, they call that the Holy Week worldwide. I'm asking you specifically. Do they not refer in Spain to the term Good Friday?
No, they do not.
Interesting.
That is Holy Friday. They
call themselves Catholics? Ha.
Right, exactly. But so anyway, there's all these processions, and and the super creepy part, and the ones that I saw were in the daylight, around midday. When they happen at night, it's extra scary. But there's all these people called Nazarenes that are dressed in robes and pointy hats, and with masks.
Veils.
It's picture a KKK person.
Yeah,
it's that. There's no difference.
A sheet with eye holes in it as a
yes,
face
sheet
cover?
with eye holes in it. Yes,
a towel
with a pointy hat,
case. With a witch hat.
Yes,
white hat.
Some of them are white, yes, but they also do other colors. Some are green, some are red, some are blue. But it's like whatever color it is, it's the whole outfit.
What color was yours?
I did not wear one this year, and so we asked, like, what's the deal with that? And it's my understanding that it's sort of anonymous penance for not necessarily for sin, but also there's this concept of if you prayed for something like a family member to get well or to get the job that you wanted or something, sometime in the last year, if you prayed for something to happen and you explicitly included in the prayer, and if you make this happen for me, God, I will be a Nazarene on Easter next year. And if for the people that happened, then they like go and do this thing where they dress in this garb
in the procession in this town.
What in the procession, in the town, and it's I don't know. It's interesting that that's a thing that happens.
Numbers, percentages? You were there, you saw it. I mean, scattered Nazarenes, minority.
There were hundreds of people dressed like this.
Hundreds out of thousands?
Yeah.
10%.
No. Of the town, of the city has 100,000 people there, and there were just a couple hundred that were dressed like this. But so they might have come from other suburbs or whatever.
Not a lot of people are making that promise to God then, or
God
had what they wanted delivered unto them. There could be a lot of people that are pissed off who didn't get what they wanted when they prayed. They're not Nazarenes. They're looking at the Nazarenes and they say, "Look at those fucking Nazarenes. They got what they wanted,
but
I didn't get what I wanted."
Some part of it is based around anonymity, in the same way that the KKK didn't want to be identified as who is doing all the lynching. There's some part of this which predates the KKK. Like I think the KKK copied their garb from this culture.
No shit.
But there's some idea of I want to be here marching for God, with God, in a way that I'm anonymous, which is
with God, and rewarded by God because I was awarded by God. I don't want you to know who I am because I don't want you to know how lucky I am because you will not like me because I'm luckier than you. That's why I want to be anonymous.
It's a procession of lottery winners.
Yes.
So
because the people said, if you would just have it so that my car that broke down is just a battery rather than the transmission, then I will end up I will end up to go on Easter and dress up like a KKK, and then it happens, and then you
right.
go, and everybody else who prayed is like, I didn't get what I wanted. Who the fuck are you, Nazarene? Who are you? You say, you don't know who I am. I'm one of the lucky ones, and you ain't. That's why there's only a couple hundred of them, because most people's prayers are not answered.
I mean, most of what God does, I think, is based around car transmissions. I think.
I think that's what
these
a lot
days
of people are looking for.
Although now that we're like computerizing and like electrifying the cars, he's gonna have to.
Did you see any of those videos of the driving a Tesla automated car where the car takes over and does stuff that's just crazy, and the people in the car can't change it, and they're saying, "Oh my God!" I mean, there's these clips that are just it's not surprising. They're dangerous, but it's not surprising. I mean, what do they think? The guy's got it right the first time? How many times did the Wright brothers try to fly in North Carolina before they figured out which one would take off? I mean, give the guy a fucking break, right?
Yeah, I mean, as someone who writes software for a living, I can confirm that your first attempt is not going to go well.
Well, a few people are dead. I mean, so that's just the price of innovation. I mean, dare I say it? I mean, how many?
I mean, it's been the price of innovation for so many industries in the past. Like,
right. I
mean, cars in general. How many people died before they decided?
All I can say, thank God, it's not in my vocation. Oof, escaped that one.
All those people that died before they figured out a way to make the hood crumple rather than just like slide all the way through and decapitate the passengers. It's like,
so tell me more about this town. You saw the procession. Where did you eat and what did you eat?
Good questions. So we rented an Airbnb house in the suburb of the town. It was a 15-minute drive from the town.
Perfect.
We were there with my family, which is my wife and my two kids.
And here is his to your parents.
Yes. So it was the four of us plus my parents plus my wife's parents. And sister. So there were 9 of us total.
That's a pile.
It is a pile, especially trying to get out the door in the morning.
And didn't you have difficulty with reservations for 9? Did we hear this story already? No, we've not heard this.
No, I mean I
just
did, but I mean we've traveled as 9 before, but so we rented this house that was just freaking gorgeous. We were in this little suburb of the city that clearly is where all the rich people from the city go to. Like all the houses were really lovely. Our house had a garage below street level, and by the garage there was a washer dryer room, but then there was another room that was just made for having a party with like 15 people there with a grill and a full kitchen and a refrigerator. Like it was just in the garage was a place to have a great party.
And you did.
We were going to, but then we ended up not because we ate out at restaurants too much.
You went out instead. So where'd you go? Where'd you eat?
But then there were 4 or 5 bedrooms with. It was just a beautiful house, great kitchen. There was a pool that was covered over because it's not quite warm enough yet, and just a freaking amazing house. That it, from what I can tell, the owners are a young couple who have a 5-month-old baby son whose photo was all around everywhere. That it looks like he's in like the military or something, but it's just a freaking amazing house for a young couple to have. But they rent it out on Airbnb, and so
that's why.
So when they it can't be that often that they actually have someone staying there. But when they have someone staying there, they go and stay probably at their parents' house, or they rent a smaller place somewhere.
Yeah,
I've
rented Airbnbs like
hell
that.
of a profit. So, where did we eat? We ate out at various restaurants in the city. We went to visit a castle, which is pretty freaking amazing. This castle, the construction was started in the year 1000, more or less, but it was an important castle for the only 2 Spanish monarchs that you can name. Name some Spanish monarchs.
Me, Queen Isabella, and Prince King Franco.
Franco was a dictator, but Isabella and Ferdinand, were the 2 that Americans are taught about.
Yes, Ferdinand and Isabella, of course.
And they were very important for this particular castle.
Those are great names, by the way.
Huge fucking castle.
Not often used lately.
Right. Well, I mean, Isabella is Spanish for Elizabeth, which is...
Ferdinand would be a good name to never name your son.
Yeah, the Spanish version is Fernando, and there are quite a few people named Fernando or Nando or stuff around.
Is that Frederick?
No.
And closer.
In English, it's just Ferdinand.
Ferdinand. Wasn't there a famous character named Ferdinand? Who's this Ferdinand?
I mean, the king.
There was a cartoon character, a child's story character.
A bull? Ferdinand the Bull?
Oh, Ferdinand the Bull. Right.
Which is also like totally stolen from the Spanish concept.
Well, stolen, of course.
But so anyway, we went to this castle that was really important 500 years ago, and we were in this little village by the castle where Isabella died, actually, and also it was a common place that she would come and stay. And this was back like before Madrid was the capital. Like they had different little regions and stuff around Spain. But anyway, really cool castle, built totally out of brick because it was in this place where there weren't any stones around for long ways, and so they made it out of brick.
They made the bricks on site, obviously.
And yes, and it was one of the first castles in Spain that was modernized for the age of the cannon. So for the
age of the what?
The cannon.
Huh.
The brick walls were like 2 meters, like 6 feet thick, and made out of brick. And a cannon's not going to do much to that. Like it's going to.
How big is the brick? How big was the brick?
I mean, it's a little bit smaller than what you would imagine as a modern brick, but
well, I'm used to 1930 bricks, which are 5 pounds. Those are big.
Less than that.
8 inches by 6 inches.
I mean,
Well, no, 8 inches by 7.25, maybe. Oh,
smaller than this, like a half.
what is that?
It's a box.
A box. For our listeners, Erik just held up a box that looked like a brick. I thought it was a souvenir for a moment.
It is a souvenir. It's part of the swag from my company.
How does it open? Show me the lid.
So this is embarrassing. When they first sent this to me when I joined, I had trouble opening it because there's like magnets on the
I see
on the
them.
thing, and like it's hard to get open. The idea is this is a box that you put your cell phone in. There's a little hole to put a charging cable through.
Yeah.
And the idea is you put your cell phone in that box like while you're trying to get work done so that you don't get distracted.
No shit.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I might send you one.
Cool. So what did you do? You didn't do any of your homework, did you? But anyway, back to the restaurant. Restaurant.
Restaurants. We ate several different things.
Castle sounds cool.
Most interesting, we ate a lot of rice and meat.
Like paella.
Like paella. Let's see. The most interesting meat as a unique thing was we had some grilled pig ear. Pig ear is a thing that they eat here.
Crisp.
I mean, it's very yes. The cartilage parts are very crunchy, and the rest is all like collagen, and it's a different. It's a very interesting food.
Did you
personally?
Feast on it? Did you feast on it?
I did. When I first came to Spain, it was kind of gross to me, but I've since learned to love it, and now I love crunching on some pig's ears. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
And wow, that's I don't know what it's. I don't know. What do you mean collagen? I'm not quite sure where that. What?
Collagen, like it seems sort of fatty, sort of gelatin.
Oh, like the fat on a steak?
Like that, but not fat. Actually collagen. So, have you ever eaten chicken feet?
No.
Okay. Never mind then.
Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus. I've eaten chicken wings plenty of times. I don't eat their fucking feet. No, what are they, all crispy? And then you use the toenail to clean out your
There's
teeth?
a lot of collagen. Okay.
Collagen.
Never mind.
Oh, God, it sounds fucking gross.
I mean, collagen is what our wives like rub on their faces to like stay young. So
that's why we want to eat their faces?
Yes.
I knew it. I knew there was a reason for this overwhelming desire to lick and chew in my wife's face.
So yeah,
guys, you Spaniards are weird. Of course, you're not a Spaniard. What do you call yourself anyway? An expat?
I don't even know.
Expat, mate.
Expat, mate. Yeah, so I have not done any
no homework
TV watching. I've watched a little bit more of what I mentioned to you before, this show called The Tourist. But since we can't watch it together,
still haven't been able to. But
I'm quite excited. This week they've just started the final season of Better Call Saul,
and on Netflix.
I think it's on Netflix. Yeah.
Yes, I mentioned
Netflix yet. What? How many people do need to sign up to the Patreon.com/happy hour to get you Netflix so we can talk about?
Well, here's the question. I'm going to answer the question with a question. what? How long did it take you to go see Moonstruck? From when you assigned the homework to when you actually did it.
Uh-huh.
How long?
Okay, so that is unrelated to.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're berating me for not switching to Netflix, and I'm just asking.
I'm saying switching. I'm saying adding.
Not switching. Having. No, I'm sorry.
Having.
I'm sorry. I used the wrong word. Forgive me. The wrong one word.
Okay, so
how long for Moonstruck? I'll tell you. Don't even think about it. Over 3 years.
3 years, not 3 years.
Over 3 years.
No.
Huh?
No. Over 1 year, yes.
How many episodes do we have?
I mean, this episode is 150, so it's not even 3 years. Well, we've skipped a couple of weeks. It's probably no. Shit.
3 years.
3 years. But yeah, then I saw it last year, so it was less than 3 years.
You saw it a couple of months ago.
Okay. Right, but it was last year, under 3 years, 2.5 years.
Okay.
So when was the first time that I told you to get Netflix? Probably about 2 years.
About a year ago.
Saying.
About a year ago.
All right, so a year.
About a year. I got another year and a half, almost 2 years left before I really have to.
Okay, well you save all your money. You collect all your coins.
Let me show you something. This is a Post-it note that's on my window on my shelf. Let me show you what it says.
I can't read that because
because it's backwards.
No, because we're saving bandwidth to. You tell me what it says.
Geek Squad, Netflix, etc. That's what it says.
Is there a date on that?
Yes.
No, there isn't.
Yes. February 2021.
Huh?
February 2021.
February 2021.
Yes.
Year
and 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's work on getting that appointment.
I showed you the note. There's no date on it. I just made that up.
I knew you made that up.
Did you think so? You fell for it. No, you fell for it.
You made that
you did too. You thought that.
I was able to see that there were 2 words on it.
You were flummoxed. You said, "Oh God!"
Like I was making fun of your conjured date of February 22221. Come on.
022222.
Indeed.
Oh,
Desmond.
Lord. So what did you watch? I mean, what just anything
I haven't seen much since we spoke last. I have a whole bunch I wanted to get to. I want to watch Better Call Saul because that's one of the better TV shows around.
List? Remind our listeners of what you agreed to 2 weeks ago.
Yes, remind us.
Is it posted? Is it on a Post-it note near your monitor?
No. Why would I write that down?
Did you sew it on the inside hem of your cuff of your trousers?
I mean, that's where I put most of our show notes. So.
Yeah, all this preparation I do is for naught.
All the preparation you do, and so my homework is where now?
Lighthouse. We're going to upgrade homework. Whatever your homework was, forget about it. Who cares anymore? You had agreed, I think, to watch a little bit of the Lakers, but you're not very interested in all that basketball stuff, I guess. So you won't do that.
Look, if I had
Adam McKay,
if I had 6 hours of free time every day, I would for sure that would be a thing I would consume. But
would you?
I think so.
It's Adam McKay, as you know, is provocative in his filmmaking. Just
I'm a fan of his, and
this is no different.
You did I remember editing that episode, and you were talking about how he made a thing that people thought was too emotional or whatever. But like, I think he only did the very first episode.
He does a lot of breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. You talked about that.
And also the what I don't understand why people who are critical say this is that they don't like the way the film looks, the type of film he used. And in fact, because the Lakers' rise to power was in an era where film looked a certain way, the whole show looks that way.
Huh.
And so when you see old clips...
That's creative.
Well, when you see old clips, it's done in, in the colors and the kind of the blurriness of the film back in the... When was it? When did the Lakers make their run? The 80s, I guess.
80s.
90s, maybe. I don't know. I should know that after watching it all these years. 90-somethings.
But then when they cut to interviewing the old
when
Lakers,
they flash back and forth, there's no difference in the quality of the film.
Interesting.
In the look of the film. Now, I wouldn't use the word quality, but...
and I wouldn't even use the word film. Like the old stuff they're using is certainly film, but the new stuff they're doing digitally and
this could be digital
and modifying.
But it's great performances, and it's a dramatization of the truth, and they're oft criticized. And what Adam McKay and others who speak for the film say is like, we didn't make this any different than what you made Rudy different, or that you meant other football films.
Right.
That were supposedly about what really happened, and they took poetic license and dramatic license. It's not any different than that. These are public figures. We can guess and make up shit that they did, and if we want to make a dramatic point, even though we know that the event actually never happened, that's okay. This is not a fucking documentary,
right?
And I love the back and forth on it. I'm following it religiously. Every episode, of course, has a post-mortem, of what really happened, what didn't happen, and the way that they portray different characters, which, they say it's unforgivable. And the guys are pushing back and saying, you know what? You're acting like this guy's a saint. He wasn't a saint. He had detectives track Jerry West. He had former coach. And interestingly enough, the iconic Professional Basketball Association icon of a man running in for a dunk is the image of Jerry West, who ended up becoming a coach for the Lakers after his career and is prominent in the series. Is played by Jason Clarke, and it's a caricature of Jerry West. And that's where people are furious. Jerry's a nice guy. You act like he never threw a trophy through the window because he was pissed off about things. Well, this is not a documentary.
Right?
It's the kind of thing that the character of Jerry West would do to get the point that he was volatile. Get over it.
Yeah. I recently read a book called The Memory Illusion, where it talks about how human memory works and how easy it is to implant false memories in people.
Yes, we've talked about that. There's one you tell me all the time about. What was it? The Wizard of Oz? About what she said?
That's called the Mandela effect, where you can think that that something happened. Wow, the Wizard of Oz. Yes, that the Wicked Witch never says, "Fly, my pretties, fly." That's a thing that we assume happened. So,
that wasn't it though, but it's something similar to that. The one that flummoxed me was not the "Fly, my pretties." There was something else about the shoes, or Return to Kansas, or It was much more prominent in the common discussion of the movie than My Pretties. Well, but anyway,
that reminds me. One of the shows I watched recently, the animated one that was about time travel. That I'm going to leave that as an exercise for the listener to go and find. There was this just throwaway line of this little girl said about the Wizard of Oz. The one thing I didn't understand is if the witch like melted anytime she got wet, she must have had to be really careful when she was peeing. And it was just like, what an observation.
These are the kinds of things you think of.
No, this was
listening public.
This was this was an observation from a young female character in a TV show.
It's right there with it. You're right there with it. Come on.
But I thought about it. Where's I going? With the memory thing, it's really wild how we feel like our memories are so like we're playing back a tape of something that we've seen, but they're really so incredibly fallible. And anytime that you remember a thing, you like by necessity are like reading from the disc and then thinking about it and then writing over what you just
right.
Where it was stored.
Revisions.
And I'm pretty well convinced that eyewitness testimony is almost, if not worthless, it's just it's almost worse than worthless because of our sense that we can recall what we saw,
right?
Because we all feel like inside our own heads we feel like, oh yeah, for sure I can tell you that I saw Jerry at the store yesterday, but when you actually like look at all of us as a population and test us all, it's like we suck at that. So I don't know, not that I get called to jury duty because I'm escaped, but if I did, the first thing I would say is like, I don't believe in eyewitness testimony, and
right.
They would be like, okay,
right.
Bye.
Right.
But
well, it sounds like you had a great time with the trip. How's the weather? It's warming up as it is here.
We had great weather on our trip.
70 this weekend. It snowed yesterday. Here.
I was in short sleeves for most of our
good
trip.
For you. Yeah,
so,
we got less than an inch of snow. My sister-in-law in upstate New York got 8 inches yesterday. And here we are, closing in the end of May. Oh, another point of viewing.
Point of order? Point of disorder?
Television viewing is that I saw the first episode of First Ladies. Viola Davis's Michelle Obama,
that.
Michelle Pfeiffer as Betty Ford,
right?
And
is that HBO?
Gillian Anderson as Eleanor Roosevelt.
Okay,
amazing.
I can find where that is.
Amazing. And the dude who plays Obama, who once you see it, we'll talk about it, but he has his voice, and it is the case with most of these actors, is that they have the voice down no matter what. They look somewhat perhaps like the characters, but they have the voice down. And so it's interesting to watch, and you can pay attention to this, that when they're first introducing characters, the first way you're introduced to characters is through them talking, not through looking at them.
Right. They're not on screen yet.
They show Richard Pryor And the dude who plays Richard Pryor doesn't look anything like Richard Pryor, really. A little bit, maybe. He's black, and, whatever. But you hear him, and he sounds like him. So by the time you see him, it doesn't matter anymore that it doesn't really look like him.
What a great technique.
It's great. It's great. So and he's advising, Magic Johnson from East Lansing here, MSU grad, took him to the national championship. I mean, the story about the Lakers is a story close to my heart.
Wait. We just went from the first ladies to the Lakers. Richard Pryor is the
Richard
connection.
Pryor. We were talking about the that's Adam McKay.
We were talking about.
Did I have a synapse?
Welcome back. You were talking about First Ladies for the First Lady TV show.
No,
you briefly touched to Richard Pryor, and you thought about a black man, and then you went to Magic Johnson.
Sorry, I had a synapse. I jumped from First Ladies.
I had a synapse. That's the episode title.
Back to I missed a beat there. I went from First Ladies back to.
I have a little bit of follow up from last episode with my closet.
Oh, yes, I gave you some advice. I was curious.
You gave me some advice, and I transferred that advice to the boss about how we should just tear away all this stuff. And since that time, as you may recall, when we had our last recording, I had just argued with the insurance people, and they said, "Fine, we'll come and we'll take away another panel behind the other thing," and they took their sweet fucking time to, like, 5 days later they came and they removed another panel, and the other panel was totally fucking rotten and drenched and gross. So now, but the next panel over apparently doesn't show the same signs. Like the carpenter that took away the second panel said that he, like, reached back there and with his fingernail could, like, scrape off bits, like it was just falling apart. And the next panel over doesn't show that sign. So we hope that this is it, and we're going to let it dry, and then whatever happens. So we'll see.
You haven't decided to tear it out. You're going to see if it dries.
Look, I said it should be all torn out, and whatever gets decided, and I just live here. Man.
That is a good closing note, I think. I
make decisions about which internet accounts we use and stuff, but that's it.
I'm happy to end the podcast on the note of the commonality we have as married men. And understanding our lot in life and what we have power over and what we don't.
Indeed, we can make suggestions.
It's not.
But they're
much.
only suggestions.
It's right. Not much. I gotta go. I gotta eat. Love you, man.
Love you too. Okay, that's it for episode number 150. Wow, what a big number. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/150. You can help support the show at patreon.com/happyhour. And if you give at the Gin Martinis level, you can watch video recordings of our little evening discussions. I'll see you next week.